Hello and welcome back for Game 3, where Team Liquid Academy will be facing off against TSM Academy. Let's take a look at the starting roster. Selecting blue side, it's Team Liquid Academy, but they are slightly different, at least, than their intended starting roster crumbs. In the top lane, it's Jenkins. In the jungle, it will be MikeYeung for today. Mid laner, Yusui. Bot and support, Tactical and Cal. And their coach, Yoltz.
And facing them on the red side, it's TSM Academy. Dhokla in the top lane, Spica in the jungle, Evolve making his debut LCS split in the mid lane. You've got Lost in the bottom lane, and Treatz on support with their coach, Mabry.
Now, as mentioned, Team Liquid Academy will be starting MikeYeung this week due to visa issues across Team Liquid.
Yeah, and it sucks, but we move on, and so I'm going to be closely watching mid lane for this matchup, Yusui versus Evolve. Now, this is Evolve's first split in the league. He was the first pick for the scouting grounds, but Yusui is no slouch to Academy. He's usually an absolute beast when it comes to regular season Academy play, and I expect him to ramp up his performance as the weeks go on. He has a really big champion pool, and on his first split on Team Liquid, I expect him to do nothing more than impress.
He had a really strong individual showing on a team that really struggles throughout the regular season. On the other side, Spica, though, returns to TSM Academy after a short stint on the LCS roster at the end of 2019.
It was an unfair situation for him.
Definitely.
Plunged into a team that is in a downward spiral, expected to fill a role that two people failed to do so, and without any preparation, he was somehow going to be the miracle guy to place Sejuani and bring back TSM. Luckily, he's now back on the Academy team and just get a taste of what that playoff intensity can be like, and hopefully nobody puts that loss on him in his career and can look past it and say, this was a really promising jungler before, this is why he was on TSM, and we'll still look at him the same way.
I've definitely heard plenty of coaches and players talk about Academy players as like, yeah, like obviously for Academy players, your goal is to get into the LCS, but I think so much of training these players is like, it takes time. Spica, I think, certainly was not ready to debut in the LCS, but as you mentioned, did have to play. Did fine. I think in general, people aren't blaming Spica for the situation he was put in, and it is nice to see him now back in Academy where he was very good and hopefully continuing to train and improve, where he maybe can be at a point where he feels comfortable enough to play up into the LCS, because I think talent-wise, his ceiling is there.
Yeah, talent, he's there. Mentally, it's a whole nother animal. It takes a few times, a lot of losses. You know, people say you gotta lose until you know how to win. That's what they told me on my team. The losses never stopped coming, though, so I'm still waiting for that sweet price at the end of the loss.
And as I mentioned, Treatz, of course, also returning to TSM Academy. So 2 returning players and 3 new ones, as Dhokla also joins the side. Treatz at this point, though, starting to become like a real mainstay of this team.
Yeah, I saw him in Sweden. I was just hanging out.
Oh, wow.
Like, hey, hello, I'm going to Sweden as well. So we just shared a few drinks there. It was a good time, and he's a player that is stepping up to be a vocal leader for this team. You know, unlike most Academy players, he's a little bit older. So I think he offers a more grounded, calm voice for the squad. And oddly enough, he's up against his former bot lane partner in Tactical. It used to be Tactical and Treatz. Now we'll see which part of the divorce was the best.
Yeah, I mean, Tactical has to feel like this is certainly a matchup he wants to prove himself in. You know, it looked great on TSM Academy, and now it's been replaced by Lost, who was a perfectly good-looking AD, but I think didn't have nearly as good a split as Tactical did. So this will certainly be a fun 2v2 potentially, especially with Cal being more the newcomer there in the bot lane to the support role. But certainly excited to see what both these revamped teams look like, because again, we've talked about TSM Academy being different. This is a very different TLA as well. Yusui certainly being the most exciting pickup. And Schönfire also will rejoin this team once he's done playing for Bruxer in the LCS.
Yeah, I mean, Schönfire is not a player here, but one that has a journey and a determination like no other. I mean, he goes around the world just like, I'm going to make it on these teams. I'm going to do it. And that determination is the kind of grit that we really look for in some of these players that have been around for so long that are just still as motivated as the first day they got here.
Also, on MikeYeung, yes, like not intending to start in Academy or LCS this particular split, but was playing with Team Liquid Academy very recently. So isn't a stranger to this organization, certainly. Isn't a stranger to playing in this level. When he looked good, he was like chain ganking, camping lanes, and just hard winning lanes for his team. When he didn't do that, he kind of disappeared. So there is kind of this polarity of MikeYeung of like, he can win you the game or just kind of go unnoticed throughout a whole match. And at least in this situation, is capable of bringing enough of his laners up that they can win a game.
You could say he sets the tempo too well.
Certainly
and if
does.
he sets it poorly, then the
Young.
rest of the game feels it. I think Mike has a really interesting opportunity in his hands. And this is something that happens to a lot of players, especially now with these visa issues, is that if somebody else can't make it, you just randomly got promoted. Can you do a better job than the person that was supposed to be the starter? And if you do, how does that play into your career? Because that's what we saw with TSM last split in the LCS, with Grig being injured, Acadian comes in. These situations happen in every single facet of the game. And so once again, not intended to play, but does he still have it in him, right? He was on this team before. Does he have the vocal leadership in him to just come out of nowhere and rally everybody together into a victory?
Who would have thought that the highest number of imports in Academy ever would cause the highest number of visa issues in Academy ever? Weird how that worked. Of note, though, I have seen some people speculating. It's like, hey, why is chairs empty sometimes? Players don't have their visas in order yet, but they're often playing remotely, which was the case for DS and Win, just to clear that one up. It was also the case for Treatz in the final TSM Academy 1 in spring 2019. Cardboard cutout Treatz dominated in that final.
I mean, as someone that also deals with visa issues, so much of it falls on the individual to actually go through with it. And when it comes to the organization doing it, then they have to get the person to find all these papers that they may not have, right? They might be from another country. Where is your birth certificate? Do you know where that is? Where are all these documents? Do you know how did you do your taxes and all of these files that you're 18, you just got into Academy, like you don't know half of this stuff. So it's really a process of getting that information out, filing it, and then having it be approved as a case for this is a person of exceptional ability in this game. Are they going to be allowed to play? It's a whole other world that I'm stressed about it already. Let's move on. Let's go back to League.
I mean, let's go on to the fact that, again, teams hunting for their first win. Whoever loses this game will be only defeated in week 1 of Academy, and the other one will split 1-1. These are two teams that you look at the rosters, again, with the caveat that, yes, Fire is not playing for the team as intended. MikeYeung is in instead. These are two very good-looking teams. They made a lot of different movements. TLA and TSM Academy were once some of the best Academy teams. In fact, TSM won as recently as last year, and TLA were consistently in contention towards finals, but didn't quite put together the same season they had in the 2019 season as they have in previous. So, with all that in mind, teams want to get things started off on the right foot.
And I think that this start also translates oddly to the LCS. This is the small brothers fighting it out with TSM versus TL, with Big Brother LCS teams fighting it out as well. And both are having rough starts. And I think it's no coincidence that both Academy teams struggle and LCS teams struggle as well. We saw it all last year. The better teams in Academy seem to have something going on for them that transcended that league and got into every other facet of the organization.
It's one thing I like about this TLA roster is like a lot of the Team Liquid Academy players formally have actually ended up in other places, Viper being the most obvious one, now the starter for FLICKR. So they've drafted some really strong players. I think this is an exciting team to watch. Yusui is a player I had my eye on all last
another
year.
one?
Of course. Name a team that like hasn't been trained. But you're right, that's kind of where he started, right?
Technically, I was also on Team Liquid.
There you go.
They were cursed before.
Everyone's been on. Oh, that's true. Everyone's been on Team Liquid, not me. I've never been on Team Liquid.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Right.
Mark's been on Team Liquid.
Oh god, that's true. Can't get rid of him. All right. Again, on the mid lane, we have talked a bit about Yusui. I'm kind of down to talk about Evolve. This is, as you mentioned, the #1 draft pick out of Scouting Grounds. Very young mid laner.
Yeah, and what
very talented
was being talked about Evolve in Scouting Grounds was that he felt to be the most complete player out of everybody else. He knew how to shot call, rotate around the map, understood macro in particular, meaning, all right, if I'm going here, what's the enemy going to do? What should I tell my other teammates that I need them to do? That kind of overarching view of the game. He had that down. That's why he got the first pick. Also has the likability of being a streamer as well. It's got the high mechanics of a Katarina. Yeah. So there's a lot going on for this player that I think just scratches the surface of what could be a wealth of talent.
But I think the thing to kind of mark there is like, this is his first ever professional team. He's played an amateur before. He was on Radiance, which was High's team. And I think High is probably going to claim credit for, like, I found this guy. But, everyone knew. But, like, yeah, he's been a streamer. He's been a high elo solo queue player, primarily on Cat Arena. Has, of course, now diversified. Is now just evolved instead of Cat evolved, his former ID. But this is, like, the next step for him. You know, he tried streaming. He's played solo queue.
He's
done
evolving.
amateur. He is evolving. What if we change his name again when he gets an LCS?
He's done. No more evolutions.
We'll see. I mean, certainly the ceiling on this player feels incredibly high. He has the raw individual talent. He seems to have the grasp on the game. He is extremely young. I think 18. Like, really just stepping into pro. This is a player that I'm extremely excited to watch, much like his jungler Spica, actually, who's in a similar spot. Very young, talented player from solo queue. So how this TSM Academy lineup combines a veterancy of Dhokla, of now Treatz, who's starting to become more of a veteran in this scene, with very fresh players, particularly in the mid lane. You may never replace Bjergsen, but you might land on another team.
That's very true. And now that you bring up like what Evolve's bringing to the table, he had those kind of assassin-y style champions before, the LeBlanc that he played his debut game, the Akalis, and obviously Katarina. But that's a very different kind of champion to play in solo queue, in stream, in a non-pro league, where you're going to get a lot of kills. You're going to get a lot of action that comes from the mistakes that your enemies are making. When you move up into Academy, into LCS, the mistakes are less frequent, and so more of it relies on how well can you set up with your team to create a situation for your enemy to slip up in. And that's a whole different wealth of work when you have to group up and secure deep vision and then understand the jungle routing and how to intercept them with your own support or your own jungler. So if he can learn to snowball very well, I think we'll see him stick to that. Or maybe he'll just drift away into a more passive Orianna, Victor, Azir kind of play style that is more traditional to what we see right now.
He's certainly capable of playing those champions. I think it's a want for both Yusui and Evolved, actually, to just show their aggressive streak, because they're both known for just being able to hard carry games, and it can start for them in the laning phase. With that, though, we are into champion selects for this battle, and Kiana will be the first ban taken away from Spica. He looks not too happy about it. TSM, though, are going to be the ones to ban Evolved. Again, Yusui, plenty of champions he can play as well. Yeah, this is the guy playing Kai'Sa mid and popping off.
He actually was really good on the Kai'Sa mid. Just playing it against Corki. I kind of missed that meta, especially when Yusui was playing it, just because you never had another player in Academy just bring you so much stuff out of left field.
It's funny, too, because you know who his AD was? It was Lost. And now he's playing against him. He's like, hey, I can play ADs better than you. And Lost is like, I don't think so.
Yeah, we got a real rematch here. A little grudge match between both these teams.
Rumble and LeBlanc, though, the next two. So Evolved will lose to LeBlanc. Also been a fairly prevalent champion. And Rumble has been everywhere. Nobody wants to give that one away.
You know he's a solid jungler, too.
Rumble's just good. Just good champion. Does it all. Elise also continuing to be targeted. This time will be banned away by Team Liquid.
Oddly, in the blue side first ban, so they have something else in mind, not wanted to take that match before MikeYeung or give it away. And if they lock this in, this is Mike just playing his signature style.
This is MikeYeung feeling very comfortable. Lucian, the last ban from TSM, certainly respecting tactical prowess on that champion.
Yeah, this Jarvan pick is a deny onto Spica, who really likes the Jarvan as well, but there's still a lot that Spica can do here. You've got Lee and Rek'Sai that I expect to be the answers into the Jarvan. Let's see how they No, come on, man, not that. No.
Treatz also on Braum, which has certainly become not particularly surprising. Would agree with you. I would like to see Spica on a more aggressive champion.
Yeah.
Long time ago, for his Graves in particular, very aggressive solo queue jungler. Lee Sin certainly more in his wheelhouse, I think. And certainly suits how people are playing right now.
It would truly be a tragedy if in Season 10,
someone
didn't put on Sejuani duty.
Spica's like, I had enough of that. I did that already.
Just let me hit 6, guys.
I appreciate that he's at least being, I assume, tongue-in-cheek about it. Kennen also is up, and Jenkins is on the team, so it's going to be picked.
Yeah, wasn't there a point last split where we were saying every time you're up against Jenkins, you just ban Kennen. You have to ban Kennen. He'll always pick it.
I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but at one point, I can I think I can safely say that Jenkins ate a large majority of the Academy Kennen ban.
Every playoff
last
game, it
year.
was banned against Team Liquid.
All right, looks like something a little more straightforward, or at least a little less aggressive. No, Aphelios going to be the swap over. A small part of me is like, is he doing it? Is he the guy still playing AD's mid? But I assume that's a tactical. As Lost maybe going to pick up the Senna here in response. Have seen a lot of this matchup. It seems like the Senna players favor their side, at least in the 2v2. But I think both champions have shown that they are very potent in different situations.
I like the Senna Braum, not because it's good for stacking those passive stacks from Braum, but because Braum's Unbreakable does a great job of keeping Senna alive through her mist.
All right, well, phase 2 of bans is now underway. Both teams have a bot laner. Actually, TSM has completed their bot lane. A jungle nab for each, and of course, the requisite Kennen in the top lane, I assume, for Jenkins. Rakan going to be the takeaway from Cow.
There's still so many supports that Team Liquid could go for that make this a really deadly team fighting comp. You've got Jarvan and Kennen already, which is pretty much everything you need for an engage. They're going to be able to get the party started. And TSM doesn't have a lot of strong disengage just yet. So Team Liquid will probably ban out what hurts them the most. And it's going to be blind flexes in the solo lane. Champions like Ryze that could slot against Jenkins' Kennen or whatever Yusui wants to pick.
Evolve has been favoring Ryze a lot as well. So certainly, as you mentioned, some possibilities for either solo laner to take that one. It's like Mabry just conferring with the team on this final ban of this draft.
It's another support ban. You just don't know what Yusui's going to bust out.
Oh, actually going to just take off a control mage. Playing fairly safe there. But again, mid lane has been a little less action-packed with Akali basically never being let into drafts.
Not allowed. Only when her next music video comes out.
And she's back in. FLICKR with the final ban here of this game. See if they continue to go after Evolved and Dhokla, or if they have something else on the mind. It is On. Ooh, that's a good one to ban away. We want to talk about really strong, stable champions, especially if Dhokla feels like he has to blind pick. On is among the best. As Aatrox also very blindable. That will be the pickup here.
They've gotten rid of a lot of the hard CC that TSM could go for, and so far it looks like Team Liquid's going to have a lot more agency when picking which fight to take. It's always a good sign being able to choose the fight that you want and not be at the mercy of your opponents wanting to engage on you.
Also looks like they are saving counter pick for Evolved. And Zoe maybe the pickup here for Yusui. Again, has a wealth of champions to draw from. It will be Zoe in this instance. And then last pick here for Team Liquid. As Tactical needs someone to join him in the bot lane. Probably. Maybe they'll mix it up.
There's a lot of supports. This isn't really up to him. Things like Thresh makes sense too.
Thresh, I think, maybe the most all rounds. Nautilus also perfectly acceptable. That will be the pick here for Cow. Curious to see if Evolved has something special lined up for this matchup, or if he's just going to take maybe something like the Victor.
In the counters we had heard of before that still are relevant.
Vega.
Heimer and Lux.
And Vega.
Well, yeah, and Vega.
Cassiopeia. So this is something else that seems to be happening with Senna in particular, and that is going to be locked in for TSM. Senna's not the highest sustained damage champion.
No.
You know, much more of just like shoots you from far away and chunks you down. I mean, she's supposed to be a support also, who does have a supportive bent to her abilities. So you tend to make things up with a high damage control mage. Victor, Cassio in this case, certainly fits the bill.
And Cassio gets the added bonus of being able to take cleanse very easily against Zoe. It's going to be phenomenal. Really good against the Kennen too. But I'm very curious to see the team fights play out, because if Team Liquid gets the god fight they want, cleanse is not going to save you. If everything gets thrown at you, you are instantly dead.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how TSM are able to actually start fights. That kind of feels like the only thing that they might struggle with. Whereas TL, as you mentioned, have much more straightforward ways of starting things off. But I like the draft. Good, always good to see Aphelios and Senna. They've been everywhere, basically, throughout the weekend.
I'm a huge fan. Ease of execution. And if you ever doubt how valuable ease of execution, keep in mind that Samsung beat SKT by playing Malzahar against FLICKR 3 games in a row. All right? Ease of execution. Press R. How do you lock FLICKR down? That's that easy.
You just suppress him.
Yeah.
Track all his summoner spells, flash on him. Have your rookie AD pop off every game.
Use what the game gives you.
The game gave you rulebook. He was good that tournament. That's Crown, of course. Let's play Cassio himself this past weekend. We won't dwell on that for now. TSM versus Team Liquid Academy. Certainly been a... You know, there's always been a rivalry between these two teams. I feel like in Academy it's been very hard fought as well.
Absolutely. The Academy is a serious training ground now.
And lots of new players across these rosters, so curious to see how this game shakes out.
What is the name of that Braum skin? Because I believe he carries a mattress.
Is it like a chocolate bar or something? It's like
it could be a chocolate bar.
Like the candy line or something like that. I think it's new. I'm not
right.
I'm not as up to date.
Ziggs has one. I think you're right. Yeah, it's not a mattress.
Joins in with Ivan, which everybody wanted.
I thought a mattress made sense.
That'd be cool. Mattress salesman, bro.
Putting you to sleep. Bang.
Ooh, I like that. Guess that's the hidden theme of the wrestler skin. Oh, tactical. It's dancing. Aphelios has 2 unique dances. Very strong champion. Just toggling between weapons.
It's like a character from an MMO just loaded with weapons that seemingly come out of nowhere.
You have that one skill, like, that's always up, so you just press it habitually. You just can't stop. You're like, what is this doing? I don't know, just keep pressing.
I can do it. Why not?
All right. Looks like some shallow wards being placed across the river, but junglers will be starting on the same side. Dhokla will move over to help Spica. And Conqueror for both junglers. Fairly standard. Conqueror also in the mid lane there for Evolve. Doesn't look like we've got any surprises on the Rune front. So we'll just see how these early jungle paths shake out.
One thing from the runes that is interesting here is that MikeYeung is running utility on the secondary tree for the Jarvan, so trying to get that extra stopwatch going on. And usually you'll see people go for domination to go for the movement speed after a kill so that you can start snowballing those ganks faster and faster. So we'll see what he does with this. If he takes a more slow approach to the early game, trying to farm up for maybe a stone plate, or if he snowballs to go for a GA. So we'll see what he's got in mind for this Jarvan as the game progresses and his stopwatch comes online.
The Evolve playing nice and forward here in the lane. Don't want to give Zoe space. Ooh, nice pull there from Yusui, keeping the wave right in front of the tower. That does cue Evolve to move down and try and ward, because he does need to find the Jarvan at this point. But it looks like he will spot him, taking the Raptor camp away. There's level 2 here in the bot side for TL. They're going to get aggressive. Cal finds the hook. Block there on Treatz. The incoming shot, but a little bit of extra damage there.
Very nice. Luckily, Senna has an AoE heal that also hits her.
Certainly good for keeping things all good in lane.
So Yusui's going to build up a wave here against Evolve. He cannot contest this. We'll just maybe miss a few on this way, but as long as he plays far back, he'll be safe. Oh, they're getting ganked.
Actually, looks like a double-sided gank there. Evolved is forced to flash by MikeYeung. Cow has roamed up. Actually, nice using their bot priority to get a flash early, so Yusui feeling ever-growingly comfortable here in his 1v1. Hits level 4 first as well. In the meantime, Jenkins is pushing the lane 1v1 versus Dhokla, because Aatrox doesn't really like when just spamming him with shurikens empowered by lightning.
Not just bot priority, but utilizing that time when he held that wave right in front of his turret to build up a threat and a sense of urgency for Evolve, thinking, oh, if I stay like this, Jarvan's just going to gank me. That's the only thing Jarvan wants to do, and it pays off, and now he's going to have to hug his tower even more because the threat is just too high.
Yep, clean bit of CSing there from Evolve. Pretty easy for Cassio to just eat the minions under the tower. And looks like Yusui already taken that early back. Dark Seal, Corrupting Potion, and some boots here. So pretty normal stuff.
This early laning is pretty much dead even across the board. No one's going for anything. Junglers don't want to mess with each other. They just want to have a nice and agreeable session. And frankly, I just don't think you can do that in the jungle anymore. That kind of agreeable session just ends you lower level than the support.
I'm a bit surprised to see Spica be a bit inactive here in the early game, but path his way finally all the way up to top lane, right on top of a ward. Nicely placed by, I assume, Jenkins. Don't think top lane is going to be the site of the first bit of aggression from him.
Look at the minimap. You've got Jarvan and Nautilus joining forces, seeing if they can make something happen in the mid lane as this wave crashes. Evolved might be in trouble. The clans could be everything that saves him.
I like this a lot, though. Just Cal almost perma-roaming, threatening in mid. Evolved does play correctly, safely, even though the wave is away from him, which always feels bad as you watch the CS just get left by the wayside. Good route there from Lost on the Tactical. Follow-up damage is decent. But MikeYeung also there towards the bot half of it, so not wanting to be too far forward there.
Just going to take that reset now. In vision, though, so TSM could respond maybe with a Dragon solo from Spica or a group effort with their bottom lane. We'll see. But definitely trying to take advantage of that. And nothing will happen. Just to tell.
Dhokla is managing the wave there. TP down from Tactical. They will move over to the Drake or perhaps forward to that control ward they assume is in that brush. But not wanting to stray too far out. MikeYeung, I believe, maybe just now spotted on a ward. Or was out of vision before then. As Spica going to clear this control ward on the right side of mid. Level 6 now for both Zoe and Cassio. I think Yusui gets quite a bit more mileage out of this 1v1 now. Can still be tough. Zoe's range tends to put her in Cassio's range perfectly, but a nice hook from Cal. He's going to get himself stunned on the back end of it. Follow-up route is good as well from Lost, but Nautilus pretty tanky. The aftershock ticking.
And this was the result of Spica being able to help Evolve, clear out mid lane, clear out the control wards, get a nice solo off of a better timing on the harass from Lost and Treatz in the bottom lane. This is just, you shove your lane, you've got time, and you know the jungler on the other side is not there because he started on the blue buff. So at 6 minutes, roughly 7, blue buff spawns. Easy time to go for Dragon.
That's a classic since season 1.
Yeah, actually, like it's actually a lesson that has not changed. And it's something that even the main TSM team still does. You just go for the invade of the first buff, or you time when the enemy team is going to go for that first buff, the enemy jungler, and then you make it play.
It's just in the name comes. I get it. The Dhokla still duking it out. Ocean over to TSM, though, should make their lives in lane a little bit more simple. Certainly looking for the potential rotations more than anything else, because it does seem like the lanes are just kind of pushing each other back and forth, very carefully manicuring their minions. The credit to Dhokla, he was struggling a little bit in the very early levels where Kennen's range advantage really shines, but actually well and truly caught up now versus Jenkins. Might even be slightly ahead by 1 or 2.
Dhokla gets to be really tanky, so Jenkins can't all in him. He needs to whittle him down, otherwise Dhokla just wins that engage flat out, which is why he can be really aggressive, knowing that as long as he's healthy, Jenkins can't really counter.
Bubble lands in onto Yusui. Does get the paddle star, but good miasma from Evolve to deal some damage back. But this blue buff invade that was started by MikeYeung cannot be contested as a result. So a really clean steal there from Team Liquid Academy.
And that was from knowing the pathing. They knew Lee started red, finished on blue buff. There was going to be a mismatch on blue buffs. And that allows MikeYeung to path for that and get a denial on Evolve. That blue buff would have been Cassiopeia. She needs it now that she's got that tier of the goddess. Without it, she's not going to be able to last it the way she wants. It's going to free up Yusui, do whatever he wants in the mid lane. And the last thing anybody wants in their game, if you're against it, is a Zoe doing whatever she wants.
I do like that Cow is just sticking to MikeYeung for a lot of these roams. Not 6 just yet for the Nautilus. Treatz has hit that benchmark, so any potential 3v3 that looked like it might have been started there in the bot lane would be slightly in favor of TSM as a result. But I wonder if this is a style that is, MikeYeung's doing, or if they'll carry it over forward. There's the roam maybe paying off here. Spica going to be the target, gets dunked! Ignite is down, and that's first blood for MikeYeung.
So Mike is just running a show here, doing so much to pressure the map, catching out Spica, even gets his flash too. Sure, Cow committed his, but that's what he's been doing all game long. He's been trying to join forces with his jungler to find a way to influence the map. Remember the first gank in the mid lane where he ganked Evolve. And here, once again, the big mistake from Spica, this is a mistake. Just cannot opening up with the safeguard on yourself and clearing the ward. You just don't do that. When you don't know where the enemy is at, you cannot do that. Same thing with Jarvan. You don't know where the enemy is and you're clearing a ward, you cannot use your flag to get attack speed. Otherwise, that's a cue to jump you.
Bonk and Dhokla. Almost making Jensen have to perhaps burn a CD, but starting to get a foothold in the matchup. I feel like Aatrox does this in every matchup where he seems like he's behind. Eventually, like, you just get tagged by a knock-up or a chain, and then he just takes all your health away, and you lose the lane.
He's got that sustain built into his passive, which makes his trades really obnoxious, because it's also, for some reason, a % of your HP, max HP, so it just hurts like a truck, heals him a bunch, and allows him to stay in lane indefinitely, because he has no mana problems.
Quick top switch here from Team Liquid. They've only got a minute to make something work here because the Drake is respawning. So if they'd like that or like to fight for it, they are not really positioned to do so. However, this Herald or just general top lane pressure might be more of what they want. It is, of course, past 10 minutes, so we are seeing teams apply pressure to this part of the map. Team Liquid are going to start it here. MikeYeung, once again, king of the river right now.
Big play is going to be Jenkins teleporting in. That ward right there that Treatz just cleared, the big sweeper out of him. Now Kennen cannot really join. If he does, they have the speed from the crab, but that's about it.
How do TSM start this fight? Looks like Herald is going to leash. Spica actually keeps it alive. They might just try and steal it here. TSM Treatz goes in, does not connect with the Glacial Fissure. In the front line now is a decent ult there from Evolve, but the Nautilus ult is a bit better. MikeYeung looking for the dunk in onto the Cassio, but a good flash from Evolve as Yusui tries to find the flank. Senna ulti, not so bad. Tactical, they're able to take out Evolve. Now Treatz on the other side of the map as Jenkins is going to clean up with the help of Tactical, who finds the double, and Yusui over the wall with every single flash in the game is going to finish off Treatz as well.
TSM just walked right into that. You could see that Team Liquid was just pulling them back, just pulling them up into the river so that they could buy more space for Jenkins to teleport behind them. And it felt like Jenkins was barely even needed to with how well they positioned. The Herald reset, and it was all Team Liquid just being much stronger at this stage in the game. Without Cassiopeia having anybody dive her, she has a hard time committing to DPS.
Yeah, I think if Treatz connects this ulti alongside of all this, may be a different story, but instead it's straight through the middle. MikeYeung pounces on his prey.
Cassiopeia just got CC'd. She landed a good ulti, but everything got thrown at her, and Senna's just in the back. What can she do at this point? There's so much threat of people jumping you, and when you get caught out at Senna, you're not escaping.
Yeah, you already ulted. That was all Lost could add to that part of the fight. Dhokla did at least get one, but couldn't quite finish off MikeYeung either, despite the ulti being on and raring to go. So it is the first fight in favor of Team Liquid. 2,000 gold up now, looking for their next Drake as Dhokla is the first of the area, but never mind. The matter of the Rift Herald is yet to be settled, Crumb.
Here we go again. Can Spica go for a steal? No.
Ult CD's not quite there on the TSM side.
Okay, TSM needs to leave. They don't have Cassiopeia here. This belongs to Team Liquid. Go somewhere else. Like Dragon. There's a perfectly fine Infernal up right now.
Yeah, seems like it's just time to trade here for TSM, and they will do so. TL not looking like they want to challenge. Looks like they want to get the Rift up top fast to try and take the tower.
Those are the kind of moves that are really going to hurt TSM in the long run when they waste time going to Herald, then back to Dragon. It's about 30 seconds worth of time that could have been used to get a Dragon and secure vision around the next play. Now that they're behind on this play, they have to go ahead and follow Team Liquid around instead of making their own action on the map and have Team Liquid follow their beat. This is the tempo that Team Liquid is setting, and well, MikeYeung is setting, and then TSM's just dancing to it.
Seems like a high tempo day. This top lane tower already fell. Good charge onto the second as well. Almost takes it out. If there been any extra attention being paid, Team Liquid might have picked up 2 there. Instead, they grow that gold lead to 3,500. Dhokla has an even larger area of space to worry about. He's going to clear out what farm he can here.
It's going to get really good for Team Liquid once Mike completes his stone plate too. It's going to allow him to be super aggressive very early on, which is what you want when you're hitting these major item spikes like the Essence Reaver on Aphelios or Zoe once she completes her Luden's Echo. So once Mike gets online with his tankiness, you're going to see Team Liquid really start to accelerate how aggressive they are.
Blue buff for Evolved though. Does keep the stuff charging. Almost up towards that Ceres with the Archangels. Treatz and Spica also taking a page out of Team Liquid's early game, sticking together as they run through the jungle. And quietly, Tactical did get half the kills that Liquid have got so far. Essence Reaver already done. Looking like maybe Aphelios will take over yet another game, Crumbs.
And the Senna last hitting takes over another bot laner here as Lost is just stuck under the tower the whole way through. This is the weak point of Senna, but can Team Liquid abuse that is the question that we'll have to see, because it answers if Team Liquid can get a lead and snowball it. They've yet to find the win.
Dhokla actually just wandering down here. Treatz again looking for it. What an interrupt there onto Cal. That's going to be a kill as Dhokla able to grab it.
It's a four-man play on 3, so really good out of TSM, just using one more person than your opponent. That's a great rule of thumb when you're looking to engage. Do you have numbers advantage? As long as you have a +1, you're good to go.
Dhokla actually using the long lane kind of to his advantage there. It was like, I have plenty of time. The wave is coming along.
Yeah.
So Roam's down, able to make sure they have enough numbers. And Treatz finds the nice ulti to seal the kill.
And he's got plenty of cooldown reduction too, which does do a lot for Aatrox's mobility. With Team the Caulfield's Warhammer, the completed Cleaver, and starting to put points in his E, he's surprisingly quick across the map.
Well, again, not too many ways to engage with. This is certainly one of them for TSM. Oh, just perfect timing.
It's tough. Maybe if he dashed down, anchor toss that way into the brush,
yeah,
and then flashing away, kind of utilizing that fog of war to maybe juke out, he could have lived.
I think he's like, I'm fine. And then basically the timing worked out perfectly for Treatz. As Cow does fall there. But still, Tactical doing just fine here in the lane. 20 CS ahead of Lost. And Evolved also, he's caught up. He's actually a lot more behind. The last time I checked in, only 10 down, was looking like 20 at some point. But both he and Yusui have stayed pretty anchored to their lanes so far, the first 17 minutes through. And Team Liquid are looking to aggress onto this turret. MikeYeung, Stoneplate is getting close to completion, does have the Cinder Hulk. Doesn't need too many reasons to dive under the turret and try and get some kills.
Well, Jenkins is one of those reasons. He's got teleport up. He's going to be able to assist the fight that Team Liquid wants to go for once again with a completed Proto Belt and Sword Shoot. Just a great power spike here out of Team Liquid. And with Dragon in 1 minute, you know that they want to start a fight. It's up to TSM, though. They want to defend it.
Seems like with 2 Drakes, they are looking to get to that soul nice and quickly. Yusui just trying to keep the wave cleared. Evolved, I think, expecting a jungler at any moment.
Yeah, and I want to point out with the junglers that it seems like the team that loses or is in a losing position or behind, however you want to phrase it, almost always gets the earlier dragons and then just loses 4 in a row and doesn't find a soul. So commitment to early dragon seems to be an indication that you're not making anything else happen on the map.
I feel like there's some argument to be like, okay, like maybe we can ignore the first 2, especially if you're trading. Team Liquid did do a nice job trading, getting that Herald and getting that turret in top lane. But once your enemy has 2, I think you have to pay a bit more attention because you don't want to give away the soul too quickly.
I try to keep my soul as close to my body as possible. I don't like to give it away.
All right, well, TLR in fact starting this Drake, so maybe they heard us. So that's going to be a pretty easy take there. TSM, just no vision to speak of in this area. So we continue to throw bubbles. TSM have already taken control of the left-hand side of the map. So
So it is going to be an Hourglass as the second item for Evolve, trying to stay as safe as possible from the onslaught that Team Liquid's Engage can be. I like that move out of him because he's going to be the only DPS here, really. Short, Dhokla, I think, would be the secondary DPS at this stage in the game, but you can't count on him to be in every single fight because he's got to deal with the side lanes, he's got to deal with the Kennen. So as long as Evolve lives, I think the DPS department is solved for TSM.
Yeah, blue steal into this Rift Herald take is the attempt for TSM. Doing it pretty quickly now that Evolve has joined the fray. The Team Liquid will not be around to collect this one. Unfortunately for Lost, and I'm sure Jat is somewhere screaming at his screen, Lost did not go back to pick up those souls. They're lying out on the ground.
I see that so often, where Sennas are just leaving up souls left, right, and center. You can queue them. You don't even have to get in range of auto-attacking both.
It's already out of there. I think Lost didn't want to get collapsed on potentially, but yes, I agree. Soul priority, much like Chime priority if you're a Bard player, of vital importance.
You know who was really good at? Johnson was really good at it. Collecting souls. But you also don't want to get caught in the mini-game of being too focused on them.
Again, much like Bud, Chime Greed has killed many a player wondering to play the minigame.
Kindred Greed is a big one.
Oh, that's true. I thought you were thinking just like mark an enemy champ. Like, yeah, it works that way. You have to try and kill them. But you're right, the jungle camps are often too delicious looking.
Both. Everyone's got to go for those camps. It's bare enough. I can't give Kindred this stack of Krugs.
Alright, well, TSM looking to use their first Rift Herald of the game. Mid lane is often the avenue of choice, but I think Team Liquid know this, so they're chucking about as many players as they can afford into the mid lane. That's 4 right now. Lost actually with the Edge of Night, farming up into the top side.
Yeah, I love that itemization out of him. The Edge of Night.
Can't get killed by Zoe,
so much. And Nautilus, too.
Yeah.
Nautilus ultimate is a bye-bye from him, so this is great pickups to deal with what is going to be an eventual hard engage from Team Liquid. So they're anticipating what Team Liquid's looking for and trying to intercept it.
Gerald speeding down mid lane. Looks to be his first tower with TSM. They look for Jenkins, though. Kick back from Spica is nice. Into the ulti as well as Cassio, I believe. And Cow on the back line is going to be killed. No, not yet. Jenkins is the target they really want. Evolve. No flash does go into stasis, but the shields are almost enough as Dhokla able to nab the double. Yusui, though, does finish off the kill onto the enemy mid laner, but now Tactical running a little out of space as Lost is going to flash in. He wants the root here. Spica also chasing with his own flash. The root's going to miss. Follow-up not quite there as Tactical has made just enough space for himself, but there may be a dive incoming.
They want him, and they're not letting him go.
Yep, they're going to keep chasing up the lane. There is a long bit of space for Tactical to try and run out of. An alcove minigame is here. No, Treatz says absolutely not. No hiding in the brushes. It will be a shutdown as Spica able to grab the killing blow.
He just wanted to put an end to that quickly. I don't want to mess around with you. I'm flashing here. Just get this Aphelios out of here. That fight, man, it was all about Evolve buying time. He had the Seras, had the stopwatch, everything went on him, and it would have been even better for Team Liquid if it wasn't for Spica hitting a really clutch kick on the Kennen ultimate, as well as the exhaust from Treatz. Did a great job of disengaging out of Kennen, but everybody else is still here.
And Dhokla roams in. Enough protection there provided by Senna.
I think Lost could have saved Evolve if he used his ultimate on the Cassio and not on the Braum.
Yeah, tried to save Treatz. They did do so, but
more valuable target. I don't know what to, maybe, you know, it's your bot lane partner. You don't want to do him dirty, but it's your mid laner. It's your Cassiopeia. You're not killing anybody without her.
Does Senna ult target? It doesn't, right? You just click.
No, it's just like an AoE spread of a big gun.
So you couldn't cue the Cassio in stasis. And the timing's a little iffy, but certainly could have potentially saved the Cassio instead. Regardless, TSM still happy with the results of the fight, closing the gold gap they were previously around.
15 seconds on this Mountain Dragon. TSM has the inside track. They are loving this position. Their Aatrox is already here. Kennen is going to come in from the same angle. Doesn't really have a good TP ward. I think TSM's going to get a free one.
Treatz is asleep. Rather irresponsible, but it was Zoe's fault. As they're going to just cut the wave here. In fact, both teams are just kind of just, you know what? They said there's a line straight down mid lane. Nobody crossed it.
Yeah, but what is What's Team Liquid doing here?
Thought they were looking for the top tier 2 that they'd almost finished off from the earlier Herald, but I think they feel a little stuck here.
It's because Baron's too tanky. You can't threaten a 24-minute Baron and not be in a grave danger of getting wiped out. So it's a tough position if you didn't have an initial control of mid lane, where you're just like, oh, well, do we fight now? A fight that we are not well positioned for? Do we trade anything? So they just take the small L and not look to overextend for something that could cost them even more.
Yeah, still no control of mid lane. Loses them a second turret there. TSM do a really nice job of just chasing TL away from where they were looking to play.
Some bigger item spikes coming in now. Dhokla is a legitimately huge threat where the death stance completed. Got Mira Mana on Lost. And Zoe's got her Ludens and Morellos too, but it's not the survivability and time buying pieces that Seraphs and Zhonya's do for Evolve.
Of note, still 2,000 gold ahead for Team Liquid. They're actually in the lead mostly on turrets more than anything else, but TSM with 3 Drakes looking for the next for that Mountain Soul is kind of the difference there in objectives. So still pretty close between the two. Played almost 26 minutes of League. Things have felt pretty even throughout this whole game. Kind of curious how TSM converts the space they've now created for themselves. And I think if we're looking at Team Liquid's plan, Jenkins has at least decided what he's going to do.
Oh, Jenkins always has a plan when he's playing Kennen, and team fighting is a big part of it. Just
not right now.
Unfortunately, your team fight is as good as your support and jungle are finding deep vision for you, because it's about the teleport.
Yeah, right.
So it's a big part for Mike and Cal to sneak into the red side jungle, secure the deep vision, push up their lanes, threaten teams TSM to come into them, and then Jenkins can go teleport and get a great team fight.
Yeah, pushing that long lane input for Jenkins certainly helps TL on making space around the Baron pit. There's some vision starting to be cleared. TSM's controllers are all on their side of the map. Oh, that one ward does get looked by tactical, but there's a control ward they find as TL continue to blind TSM around the next important objective.
So for TSM, even though their vision around the blue side river and Baron is really not good, they know that no Baron threat is real without Aphelios. So as long as they see Aphelios anywhere on the map, they know that Team Liquid cannot be doing Baron. So they're very happy to just continue playing it slow, knowing that they don't have sight of Baron because Aphelios is not there. Therefore, Baron cannot be done.
And again, this lane for TSM, conversely, is really long in mid lane. So they're going to chase those minions down. Now it's their turn to double back and sweep through all this vision. Kind of just waiting for that next big team fight. Again, have to look at Dhokla, have to look at Evolved. Even Lost, curious to see what impact he can find on Senna. Whereas the other side is definitely Yusui and certainly tactical.
Yeah, Dhokla is, when he hits 16, it's really going to be deadly. This is a Baron that is spotted out. So TSM is still committed.
Senna does make Baron somewhat safe, and Cassio is extremely quick on the Baron take. So they are going to commit pretty hard. I think it's pretty low. Not low enough though. Yusui with a big blast of Battle Star, but they found Cal. Stun forward by Treatz, follow up by Cassio. Evolved no interstasis, but Jenkins trying to make the team fight happen. Lost. Still going with the ulti, not quite enough to save his mid lane, and now he has to flash out of the pit. Spica, he smote the Baron just for a bit of extra health, and Team Liquid come away with a team fight win.
And the best lessons are the harshest, because TSM just now understand that this Baron in Season 10 is not an easy objective. They get wiped and lose only 3 members, but the Baron that is lost is even greater.
Seems like Treatz has the right idea here, but Yusui just poking them to death on the flank.
And they had no idea that Jenkins is there, only that control word, but it doesn't see across the ledge. They don't actually know if he's poised to engage and exactly when. Tanking the Baron,
tactical.
Poor timing for him, and you leave the carry completely free to do whatever he wants.
It's the right time to have bullets in Infernum. Tactical just destroyed that team fight once it was all set up. So TL, they take the Baron, they take a big lead now in this game, up almost 5,000 gold. And of course, Yusui, he's got a new book to read.
I got a new book to read now, one I get to de-stress me, because now there's 10 seconds left. TSM could have been setting up for a dragon to get that 4th soul.
Treats the pick. No follow-up though, but a good hook from Cal to just find something. TSM's looking a little vulnerable for all this damage that Team Liquid have now built up. And I don't think there's any chance TSM take this straight. They'll just give it over. Play for the soul the next time around.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. They'll now have to fight for another Mountain Dragon in 5 more minutes. So at least the Baron will be gone by then. But the scars from the Baron fight will remain.
Yeah, trying not to lose too much rounds here. Lost going to defend this tier 2 mid lane turret for as long as he can, but Jenkins is keeping the Baron on it. The rest of TL, in the meantime, are down in the bottom lane. Swiftly taking the tier 2 there. Evolved, killing Baron up minions despite being Cassio. Pretty tricky.
And lane that miasma is just so strong to defend against the siege. You can usually just do it once a wave as the cooldown decreases with your levels now. So Evolve is going to be really strong for holding a lot of these turrets. But the rest of the squad, not so much.
Yeah, Zoe, of course, always good in sieges. So Yusui just making sure to keep people away from the turrets, and Team Liquid will have another pass at this once the mini wave comes in. In fact, don't even need it. That Kennen Baron got distracted briefly by Evolved, but not long enough for that tower to stay up any longer.
Team Liquid can siege wherever they want as long as Cassiopeia is not there. Split her away, and Senna is just terrible at dealing with Baroned up minions. So this is exactly where they want to be.
Oh.
MikeYeung splitting the top lane, and now Kennen in the mid lane. So get TSM separated, use the speed of wave clear to collapse and outnumber.
I thought for a second I was about to learn a very gross Zoe bubble spot, but it did not travel all the way through into the base wall. But still, Yusui is just making life very difficult to clear these waves safely. Ooh, engage on a Jenkins. I think it's his ulti. Spica's going to find him. That should be a kill. Perhaps no. Back towards his teammates. There's a Senna ulti, but it's not enough from Lost.
Oh, that was close. Just slightly off on the angle there from Spica. But at least they save every inhibitor and inhibitor turret from a Baron push, which is a really big deal. Those things are going to regenerate, so all the damage will disappear.
And now TSM, at least staying proactive here. Dhokla and Spica, I think, feeling empowered enough to try and make a play with Jenkins all on his own in mid. And the strength is still building again. Senna does scale decently if you pick up a lot of souls. Evolved will continue to scale throughout the game all the way up to item number 6. No boots required there for Cassio.
She couldn't even get him if she wanted. And how come Nami wears boots but not Cassiopeia?
Listen, Crumbs.
She doesn't have legs either. She's clearly half fish.
I don't know. That's a question for the lore team. That's not my department. TSM just kind of fending off, waiting for the next objective. I think we are going to have to look at either, actually both this next Baron and this next Dragon. They'll spawn within about 20 seconds of each other. It would be soul point for TL, it would be the soul itself for TSM. But Baron always a worthy prize as the game gets later as well.
Dragon Soul is worth more here. TSM should trade this objective if it comes down to that. It will allow them to not only deal with a lot of Zoe's poke, but when the big engage happens, what else do you want besides additional resistances and HP?
For now, TSM are clearing their red side jungle. Baron is spawning 30 seconds sooner, excuse me. The team's pretty acutely aware of what objectives they are trying to play for next. Looks like the last bits of shopping will have to come in before the sale around the pit begins.
Oh yeah, the sale on the pit. A
when
battle as old as League of Legends itself.
Tactical also looking pretty scary with 4 items. Essence Reaver, RFC, Hurricane, and Infinity Edge. Can only assume that an unchecked Aphelios will easily win the team fight.
I love that word. You can only assume because no one knows what he's actually doing. You're dying, but you don't know how it's happening.
At the end of the day, AD is still AD. Tactical's got a lot of it at this point. Bubble hits, finds Treatz. Yusui though not in range to follow up. Spica fishing, trying to get some information on where Yusui might be.
Oh, look at that ward in the back of the mid lane. That could be where Jenkins teleports if TSM chooses to go on this merry-go-round sieging.
Yeah, Jenkins also threatening the inhib, so Dhokla going to be forced away. There are TPs for both top laners, though. Oh, as somebody walks past and Aphelios starting to get shot. And inhibited turret down. Jenkins actually had enough to take that out. Timing was a little bit off there for TSM, so now Team Liquid have an even easier time applying map pressure to TSM.
See what they choose to use with this map pressure, though. Baron or the Elder. It's going to be Jenkins flanking. He has flash. He's not going to risk it. Too far ahead.
They did spot him, so TSM know to walk away.
You have to keep in mind that Lee can always kick him out.
Treatz eats the paddle sub, but with the door up, doesn't take too much damage. Getting really tense as both buffs spawn. And Dhokla actually starting the Mountain Drake here. Oh, Jenkins maybe caught out. No root's going to land, and TSM are going to commit for this. I don't know if they can see TL on the Baron side, but that's a very quick soul, and Team Liquid just give that away, Crumbs.
Yeah, that's they want to trade it, but I don't know if this was worth the trade. Remember what they did with this Baron. They barely hurt the inhibitor turret. They were not able to really find any major objective with it, and giving this away to TSM feels like giving them an answer to the hard engage that they're looking to go for, because when it comes to sieging, now that they have to deal with the extra health, Zoe's going to be less effective, and it's going to be harder to find an angle for Kennen to get in. That's part of why they're having a hard time. Kennen can't join them on a dive when you're just sieging front to back.
All right, well, Lost may be a little bit behind in items there to Tactical, but Evolved certainly is very powered up. 4 fully completed items, including the Rylai's and Leandri's for that extra excessive damage over time. See how well TSM can fend off yet another round of sieges from TL. Jenkins again, playing fairly far forward against his long-range champions.
TSM is doing a good job of controlling this red side with the control ward, threatening Team Liquid to say, hey, if you commit to this turret, we're going to attack you from behind and cut off wherever Jenkins will want to join. So that position is playing double duty, and it does a good job of deterring Team Liquid. Once again, they got Baron. Nothing has happened with it.
Yeah, time's still ticking away. Jenkins, this is the lane they need to be looking to open up here, but TSM have done a really good job of just threatening. As Dhokla, going to pop the ulti. They want Jenkins here. Spica is available. Dunk is going to land. Dhokla still needs to follow up. Jenkins low does have the flash, but Dhokla going to say no to that one. So TL straight onto Evolve, going to try and force themselves onto the turret.
At what cost? So Team Liquid's definitely going to get the inhibitor. I don't know if they'll get more, though.
Lost is here again. Tower does fall. Dhokla with a deep TP. It doesn't look like he can follow up there. The TSM, I think, just trying to minimize the Baron damage. Yeah, they lose another turret, but keeping their inhibitors up when the enemy team has Baron and Zoe feels like a decent trade-off for TSM to make.
Yeah, I mean, TSM is very happy here. It felt like they were losing control of the game with that poor Baron play that cost it. Now they have the Soul. They've got a lot of items on their Cassiopeia. Their late game insurance has come in now that Senna also has an Infinity Edge. So TSM should feel like they got a new lease on this game and is inspired to try to come back with that aggressive look on Team Liquid.
Now, to be clear, the balance in this game is still very precarious for TSM.
Absolutely.
If one thing goes wrong, I think the game ends pretty swiftly on their side. And still a bit of Baron left here for TL. They'll try and push a little bit more into the mid of the map.
I still feel the same for both teams. Aphelios is one item up and he's the largest threat, but how many fights have we seen where Aphelios is the first one to die and doesn't do anything? Not to say anything poor about the champion, he's incredibly powerful. It's just that teams like to focus him first, and if the highest damage dealer is out, well, it's hard to win a fight after that.
Yeah, if you can lock him down, then TL, I think, will maybe struggle to get it going unless Jenkins finds a really nice ulti, but TSM finding picks, I think it's really up to Treatz or Spica with some sort of miraculous looking flank. Because other than that, TSM, the only way it felt like they can really get a fight going is just to run at them.
This was actually the problem with the TSM main team as well. Their draft did not give them the tools to have agency in deciding a fight. Once again, they're at the mercy of Team Liquid and are very scared of overextending.
Treatz again looking for it, does force the flash. again, the damage dealers on both teams, I guess in this case comparing Evolve specifically to Tactical, are very threatening. So if somebody puts a toe out of line, they will get pretty swiftly felled.
It almost feels like no one's going to step over that line until that timer on the top left of your screen hits 0. They just want to go for Elder.
Man, it is very powerful. Certainly a good...
It's a standstill. It's like, we claim this territory. Come take it.
We'll see if they do just that. TSM again, thought on space with 2 inhibitors down, but don't have very much longer to set themselves up for the next objective. Good to see a healthy dose of control wards in the inventory though. And looks like they are finally going to have a little bit of room to make their way into the room for the first time in what feels like quite a while.
And it's early though, it's a minute until the Elder. This gives Team Liquid enough time to not only clear this, but do so after a shop that was sooner than TSM. So they'll have an advantage with control wards, an advantage with itemization, maybe even some potions if they want to. So this is a bit of an early push from TSM that could just get cleared out from Team Liquid and amount to nothing.
Yeah. Other thing is that, again, these long side lanes are still threatening TSM. Jenkins has been pushing bot lane basically every chance he gets.
This is what I'm talking about, right? They just got in there and they laid 3 control wards on the threat, 4, but they're not defending them. So now once Team Liquid falls back into the Dragon Pit, they're going to clear every single ward without any fight whatsoever, any resistance. Free gold and XP. Look at that.
Yeah, it looks like
what was the point of that?
I think, again, just a matter of timing, as you mentioned. TSM maybe not fully taking in the total situation around the map. Oh, Jenkins, nasty looking flank here. He snuck into the top half of the map. But Dhokla's going to head him off. Good ward there from Treatz. Do need to keep track of this Kennen. In fact, they're going to go for him. He does have flash. I should know that from the last time they picked him off. But ulti just burnt there from Dhokla, not able to convert the kill. TL onto the Elder. Already just getting straight on top, but I don't think he can get in there. Yusui, the target for Evolve. There's going to be a steal attempt there. Spica kicked him out. He steals the Elder Dragon. Spica with an absolutely massive play. May have very well saved this game for TSM Academy.
What a god mode kick, and the fight's still going. Yusui does not have flash.
Yep, Dhokla's here. Spica continuing to make it work. How going to get executed? It's Elder Dragon burning everybody down. Only Jenkins and MikeYeung left alive, but Jenkins, he's sticking in the top lane.
He's gonna try to trade an inhibitor. It might be enough to make super creeps and stall out the push that TSM is going for. They're gonna try to end the game here.
Dhokla is basing, so he's gonna defend any further push from Jenkins, but they can play a 4v3, 4v2 actually, for about 20 more seconds. They're at least gonna break here. Dhokla will not be able to cancel the recall of Jenkins by the looks of things. The TSM may just go straight for the throat here.
They absolutely should.
10 seconds. Jenkins, oh, he just gets absolutely owned. Great miasma from Evolve. Kick back in. It's going to be a second kill here onto MikeYeung. TSM, get it. That's the burn, the execute, the ace. That may be all they need is TSM chugging down the towers. Good ult there from Tactical. TSM have to be careful. Not wanting to overcommit here. Dhokla through the turrets. He's going to rejoin his team. 40 seconds on Jenkins and MikeYeung, but the carries are alive for TL.
So he is back, so this is going to be a lot tougher, but the range on loss is insane at this stage.
Able to really poke them down. Dhokla going in. Wants to try and take down Yusui. The rest of TSM move in. Ulti out there. Spica again looking for the kicks. Treatz getting low. Lost zoning them out. Massive amount of damage again. The Elder Dragon continuing to come up trumps as Spica's miracle steal brings TSM Academy their first win of the 2020 season.
That was such a good kick flash from Lee Sin. That was the highlight. Nothing he did that game comes close to how clutch that moment was from Spica. They didn't have the position, but they had the mechanics to get out of it.
Said it. Focus on the Drake's crumbs. They got the soul. They got themselves in a position for the Elder, and then Spica. Oh, yeah, such a good play.
Cannot wait to see the highlight from that one because it just happened so fast. The fight was going in another part of the map. Evolve flashed in to try to get the Zoe, but it was Lee Sin's focused on the objectives that ended up giving the Elder and the team fight win.
We also solved the issue of Senna being lower damage than the other ADs. Just get Elder Dragon.
There you go.
20% extra damage.
Oh, such an easy, just get Elder.
It was actually really funny to see Lost with all that range, just like tapping people and then they explode.
Yeah. That makes Senna a real badass.
Found it. It's not the Souls Jet, it's the Elder Dragon. That's the one you want.
That's why you need Soul, to get the Elder Dragon in position.
All right, still about the Souls. I dig it, I dig it. Well, a tough loss there for Team Liquid Academy. MikeYeung and friends looking good in that particular game. The TSM Academy fighting very hard for their first win and will pick it up thanks to their jungler.
Yeah, I think more than anything, the moment where they went for Baron, huge tilter, huge tilt move. Because you made a big blunder, you gave the Baron over, you lose dragons, it starts to go downhill, but the mental focus to say, we can still win this. There's still a way back into this game, and once they secured that soul, I think that gave them the confidence and the team fight stats to say, yeah, we definitely got a shot.
There are a lot of moving pieces with like how open their side lanes were. I think TL could have also set themselves up better, and again, I don't know who that comes down to on this team, and this is a new roster. But TSM like kind of knew what they needed to do, and it wasn't pretty, but it was enough to win.
It gets you the first win on the board, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Certainly does. Looks like we'll be wrapping up in just a moment, but not just yet. I don't know. I'm curious to see I'm curious to think what I learned from this week between these two teams.
I'll tell you what I
learned that
learned.
visa issues are fun.
Visa issues are they hurt. But I think inside the Rift, it's about understanding when a good time to base for the objective is. So 30 seconds too short. I think 45 seconds is the optimal time for you to start getting control of your lanes after you have shop, and then collapse into the objective a few seconds before it spawns to really maximize the time, or minimize the time that you're just dancing around, and maximize how much time you are actually collecting gold.
And you know what? It's Academy. You know, they work on that stuff, right? That's part of being in this environment. But the individual play certainly worth celebrating at the end of the day. As you wrap up Academy games for this week, let's see how the team stack up. Surprise, surprise. Dignitas, FlyQuest, and Golden Guardians are all 2-0 after the first week, Crumbs.
Yeah, those three teams are just on a tear, particularly the golden ones. This seems to be the year of yellow. I want to see how they fare against everybody else, because no one else has as high an expectation about their results as they do. They got so many LCS players.
Well, Academy returns in just 4 days with Academy Rush on Friday, followed by EGA versus TSMA on Saturday after the LCS. We'll see C9A and IMTA, and then on Sunday, 100 Thieves Academy versus Team Liquid Academy. Be sure to join us again next Monday for 3 more exciting matchups, followed by a Monday Night League.
I just see a lot of League, and I'm ready to tune in.
There's a lot of League, Crumbs. Well, that's all from us today. Be sure to stay tuned for Monday Night League starting at 5 p.m. Good night.